They say history is written by the victors. But what if the truest secrets, those buried beneath sand and silence, were never meant to be written at all? In the heart of the Egyptian desert, older than any pharaoh's tomb, stands the great Sphinx of Giza. It is an enigma in limestone, its lion's body and stoic human face weathered by millennia. Conventional Egyptology claims it was built around 2500 BCE by the pharaoh Khafra. But scratch beneath the surface, literally, and that narrative begins to crumble. Because deep weathering patterns on the Sphinx's body, carved by relentless water erosion, suggest something impossible. The monument predates the Egyptian civilization itself. In 1991, geologist Dr. Robert Shirk stood before the Sphinx and saw something no Egyptologist dared to admit. The erosion wasn't wind. It wasn't sand. It was water. Massive, long-term rainfall, the kind the Sahara hasn't seen since at least 7000 BCE. That would make the Sphinx thousands of years older than Egypt itself. But if Khafra didn't build the Sphinx, who did? Hidden beneath the Sphinx is a sealed chamber, detected by ground-penetrating radar in the 1990s. Egyptian authorities denied further excavation. Why? Some say it's to protect the site. Others whisper darker reasons. Cover-ups, forbidden knowledges, ancient technologies too disruptive for modern civilization to grasp. A peculiar alignment adds another layer to the mystery. The Sphinx faces directly east, staring toward the rising sun at the spring equinox. But here's the twist. It aligns not just with the sun, but with the constellation Leo, as it would have appeared not 4,500 years ago, but around 10,500 BC. Why would a civilization thousands of years before Egypt aligns a monument with a celestial event that perfectly matched the stars of its time? And then there's the Osirian at Abydos, another structure carved not from assembled blocks but from solid granite at a depth uncharacteristic of Old Kingdom architecture. Like the Sphinx, it seems out of time, as if left behind by a forgotten hand. Some researchers believe a pre-Diluvian civilization, highly advanced yet wiped from historical memory, left these markers. The Sphinx might not just be a monument, it could be a message or a warning. Whispers from forbidden texts like the Emerald Tablets and the Books of Thoth speak of the Shemsu Hor, or followers of Horus. According to ancient lore, they were god-kings who ruled in the Zep Tepi, the first time, an era long before Egypt's official history begins. These beings possessed knowledge of the stars, energy manipulation, and stonework that modern science still cannot replicate. Could the Sphinx be their calling card? Mainstream academia scoffs at such theories, branding them pseudoscience, but again and again the evidence refuses to stay buried. Consider the erosion patterns, the stellar alignments, the technological anomalies in the stonework. These aren't myths, they are data points, and they do not align with the accepted timeline. In 1993, while on an unauthorized dig beneath the Giza Plateau, a team reportedly uncovered an object, a polished black stone sphere, inscribed with symbols unlike any known language. It was removed under the cover of night and disappeared into what some now call the Egyptian vaults. The government denied the dig ever took place. Who were those ancient engineers? Where did they get their knowledge? Was it terrestrial or something else? What we know is this: the Great Sphinx is not just a sculpture. It is a question carved in stone, challenging us to rethink everything we've been taught. And behind that riddle may lie a truth more dangerous than any weapon. A truth about where we come from and who once ruled the earth. But the sands of time are not eager to give up their secrets. Beneath the Sphinx's paws may lie the entrance not just to a tomb, but to an archive of forbidden knowledge, sealed away since the cataclysm that ended the last age of man. What catastrophe wiped this civilization from the face of the earth, and why did survivors go to such lengths to hide their legacy in stone and shadow? Some say the answers were encoded in ancient myths: the flood of Noah, the sinking of Atlantis, the fire of Sodom, not as religious metaphor, but as veiled memories of real events. And the Sphinx, unmoved and unblinking, bears silent witness to it all. But if that's true, if a lost civilization had mastery of energy, astronomy, and stone long before recorded history, then we must ask, what else did they leave behind? And who or what silenced them? The truth may lie just beneath the surface, waiting for someone to look with new eyes. And someone already has. The sands of Giza are deceptive, still, silent. But beneath them, something stirs, something ancient, something deliberately hidden. In 1997, a little-known group of researchers, led by Dr. Thomas Daynell, claimed they had received independent seismic scans of the area beneath the Sphinx's paws. The scans revealed what appeared to be a perfectly rectangular cavity, roughly 25 feet deep, directly beneath the monument's front limbs. A chamber. Artificial, hollow, yet Egyptian authorities once again denied excavation permits. Why? What secret is so potent that even a whisper of it must be buried? A declassified CIA document from 1964 buried in the Crest archives for decades mentions a non-Egyptian substructure beneath the Giza Plateau. It references electromagnetic anomalies inconsistent with any known burial practices and speaks cryptically of resonance chambers. Were they vaults? Ancient reactors? Portals? The idea sounds preposterous until you examine the sound behavior of the granite in the King's Chamber of the Great Pyramid. Engineers have long noted that the granite box inside that room resonates at precisely 432 Hz, the same frequency as sacred geometry, and the tuning used in Vedic chants and early Tibetan instruments. Coincidence? Or technology concealed within spirituality? According to the mystic Edgar Cayce, the Sphinx holds an entrance to the Hall of Records, a repository of Atlantean knowledge. Skeptics laughed at Cayce for decades, but then came the scans, then came the radar, then came the silence. In 2009, a German documentary crew filming near the Sphinx was abruptly halted by military intervention. Their footage was confiscated. The official explanation? Unauthorized drone activity. But witnesses claimed the team had begun filming a stone shaft exposed by erosion, previously concealed under centuries of shifting sand. Theories erupted. Had the chamber finally been breached? But here's where the story darkens. Multiple insiders, including former Egyptian ministry staff, claimed that an international team, backed quietly by both American and European intelligence, entered the chamber in 2010 under the guise of conservation work. What they reportedly found was not burial artifacts, but machinery. One witness, who vanished from the public eye in 2012, claimed the chamber contained polished black slabs resembling obsidian, but humming with low-frequency vibration. Alongside them, a spiral staircase descending into a lower vault. What lay below? No one knows. Or no one's talking. Just like that, the site was sealed. Guards increased, access was restricted. Official reports denied anything had changed. But then, strange events followed. Electrical disruptions in the vicinity, military drills near Giza, anomalous spikes in magnetometer readings. And perhaps most chilling, whispers of a pulse felt across the desert floor during the spring equinox. Was something reactivated? Meanwhile, ancient texts like the pyramid texts of Saqqara speak of the Iron Throne of Osiris, hidden in the House of Saqqar, a term eerily similar to the architectural label of chambers beneath the Giza Plateau. Some scholars believe this throne wasn't symbolic but literal, and if Osiris was not a god but a memory of a king from a forgotten epoch, then the throne might be a seat of power in more than just name. Another theory? The chamber holds a crystalline memory device, some form of consciousness archive, a tool used by ancient priest kings to encode knowledge in geometric waveform. Such a device would require harmonic resonance to activate. And the Sphinx? It may be the key, allying to celestial harmonics and triggering events only during specific cosmic alignments. Let the idea settle. Now revisit the Sphinx's gaze, eternally east, locked on the horizon, not just for aesthetics, for synchronization, a countdown, a mechanism. But toward what? Some researchers suggest the true purpose of the chamber is not preservation, but containment, that something slumbers beneath the Sphinx, not an object, but a force, a frequency, a presence, one that was locked away when the last age ended. Could that be why every attempt to excavate is denied? Why entire research teams are silenced? If what lies beneath the Sphinx isn't just a message from the past but a trigger for the future, then the stakes are far greater than archaeological interest. So what happened to the international team? Why is no footage of the 2010 excavation available to this day? And what was the purpose of the spiral shaft leading down from the sealed chamber? Was it a vault? A prison? A mechanism? The Sphinx may not just mark a forgotten civilization. It may guard a threshold, and someone may be preparing to open it. In the ancient world, myths weren't just stories, they were encrypted messages. As the pieces come together, from water-eroded stone to sealed chambers and vanishing research teams, a picture begins to form. A picture that points to a civilization older than Sumer, older than Egypt, older than the Great Flood. A civilization that didn't just build with stone. They manipulated it. Among the most enigmatic relics tied to this lost epoch are the so-called megalithic anomalies, Baalbek's stone blocks, some weighing over 1,200 tons, quarried and placed with surgical precision. The perfectly drilled granite cores at Abu Rawash, the vitrified walls of ancient Peru. All of them point to a technology that doesn't match the tools of the Bronze Age or even the Iron Age. But here's the mystery: the deeper we dig, the more advanced the stonework becomes. It's almost as if humanity is in reverse. Back at Giza, underground sonar reveals tunnels extending from beneath the Sphinx, connecting with shafts that run beneath the Great Pyramid. What purpose could such a network serve? In 2011, two independent researchers studying these passages recorded a high-frequency reverberating through the rock, undetectable to the human ear, but caught on magnetic audio equipment. The sound matched one previously recorded in the king's chamber, precise, consistent, and intelligent. Some believed these tunnels weren't just pathways, they were conduits for energy. That takes us to the builders. Some call them the Shemsu Hor. Others refer to them as the Watchers or the Aeon Engineers. All share the same cryptic traits: masters of harmonic resonance, celestial alignment, and energetic manipulation. They were not just stonemasons. They were technicians of frequency and form. The Emerald Tablets describe these beings as those who came in ships of fire after the fall of Atlantis. Not extraterrestrials in the modern sci-fi sense, but something else. descendants of a forgotten epoch who preserved their knowledge in hidden libraries, temples, and machines. And the Sphinx? It may be the primary interface, an anchor point in a global energetic network. Many believe the Giza Plateau is one node in a planetary grid, a worldwide system of energetic ley lines that includes Stonehenge, Machu Picchu, and Göbekli Tepe. And here's the strange part. When the measurements are charted, these locations aren't just aligned geographically, they're aligned vibrationally. Who could have mapped such a network over 12,000 years ago? Modern archaeologists dismiss the idea. They call it pareidolia, pattern seeking. But ancient texts, from the Zohar to the Vedas, speak of the grid of life, the web of Indra, and the net of the gods. Were these poetic metaphors, or descriptions of an energy-based planetary system designed by the pre-flood builders? Let us return to the chamber beneath the Sphinx. A leaked memo from a 2014 diplomatic cable between French and Egyptian officials referred to the situation at Site 4D. Though redacted, one phrase remained intact: residual activation signal measured. Some interpret this as an accidental triggering of an ancient mechanism, perhaps a beacon, perhaps a vault opening, perhaps something else entirely. There are also reports, unverified of course, of localized electromagnetic disturbances following certain ritual activities performed near the Sphinx during equinoxes. Several witnesses reported hallucinations, auditory distortions, and intense vibrations in the ground. Some believe the chamber was never meant to be opened, that it was sealed after a great cataclysm, the same event that drowned Atlantis, shattered the Younger Dryas, and reset human history. What if the builders didn't vanish? What if they sealed themselves away? Let's explore a final thread, the lost pillar of Enoch. According to ancient texts, the antediluvian patriarch Enoch erected two pillars to preserve knowledge, one of brick, one of stone, against the coming flood. The stone pillar, it was said, contained astronomical, geometric, and harmonic wisdom passed down by the Watchers. Some researchers believe the Sphinx and its subterranean vaults are this very pillar, coded not just with myth, but with the mathematical language of the stars. The builders knew the flood was coming. They encoded a warning and a key. The chamber beneath the Sphinx may be that key. A vault of memory, a machine of resonance, a final message from a civilization erased by fire, water, and time. But what if someone, now in our time, is preparing to reawaken it? Because somewhere, in the silence beneath the stone, something is waiting, and its clock is ticking. The desert has kept its secrets well, but silence is not absence. It began on the 21st of June, 2022-2. Summer solstice, tourists gathered at Giza to watch the sunrise align perfectly with the Sphinx's gaze. An ancient ritual of light. But beneath the pageantry, a group of private researchers, funded by an anonymous European benefactor, activated a modified gravimetric scanner aimed at the bedrock under the Sphinx. The result? A ripple. Not seismic, not magnetic, something else. The data was dismissed publicly as a sensor malfunction, but leaked logs reveal the device captured a pulse of harmonic resonance at 7.83 Hz, the Schumann frequency, Earth's natural heartbeat. But here's what terrified them. The pulse didn't originate from the sky or the atmosphere. It came from beneath the stone, from the chamber. Three days later, the team was gone, not arrested, not silenced, erased. Their website wiped, credentials deleted, all online traces redirected to innocuous travel blogs, digital footprints scrubbed. And yet one photo slipped through. Geological activity, and then removed, showed intense heat signatures beneath the Sphinx's paws. heat not consistent with geological activity. It radiated in perfect concentric rings, like a ripple in a pond. Was something powering up? Then came the dreams. Locals in the Giza village began reporting vivid nightmares. Visions of dark corridors, thrones of gold and black stone, voices humming in unknown tongues. An entire class of schoolchildren described the same figure, a tall man with a lion's head and obsidian skin, standing in a chamber of vibrating light. Coincidence? Mass psychosis? Or contact? Satellite footage from the European Space Agency shows something stranger still. On the night of July 1, 2022, a faint, localized, aurora-like anomaly flickered briefly above the Giza Plateau. Impossible at that latitude, and yet there it was, green, purple, dancing like magnetic curtains over the desert. Electromagnetic discharge, a breach? Some believe the Sphinx isn't just a monument, it's a capacitor, a storage device for planetary resonance, a failsafe to stabilize global harmonics in the aftermath of the last cataclysm. Others suspect it's a transmitter, that it was designed to send information not across space but across time, encoded in stone, awaiting alignment. Alignment? It's near. A controversial independent researcher, Dr. Miles Karos, claimed the final phase of the mechanism will activate when the Sphinx's shadow disappears entirely at high noon on the equinox during a period of increased solar radiation, an event expected within this solar cycle. Why would ancient engineers encode such precision? Because they remembered. They remembered the last fall. The deluge that swallowed the world, the fire from above, the freezing of oceans and melting of mountains. They remembered the reset, and they prepared. They buried their knowledge not in books, but in resonance, or stone, in symmetry, in silence. We were never meant to understand it until we were ready to receive it. And maybe we aren't ready at all. Across the globe, other anomalies now awaken. In Bolivia, the stones of Pumapunku vibrate faintly. In Cambodia, priests report harmonic irregularities in Angkor Wat. In Japan, sonar near Yonaguni reveals shifting tones, tones that mirror those recorded under the Sphinx. A global ignition? A resynchronization? A countdown? We've long believed that history is a straight line, a march forward through time. But what if time itself is a cycle, and monuments like the Sphinx are not memorials, but gears in a machine that turns every 12,000 years? What if the builders knew that time resets and left behind keys, not to survive, but to awaken? The Sphinx watches. Silent, ancient, enduring. Not because it is a symbol, but because it is waiting, listening, ticking, and beneath it something stirs.